Well, hi guys. Thank you so much for coming back. In this video, we are going to continue on with stripping down the 1940 Chevrolet pickup. We need to get the entire drivetrain out of here, the entire suspension out of here, and front axle, the braking system, everything. Shock absorbers, bumper brackets that are not, if they're riveted in, they can stay. Anything bolted to this chassis has got to come off because it is slated to be media blasted, then primed, and then we start figuring out what we're going to do with the replacement drivetrain. So come along as we continue undoing all the work they did 80 plus years ago. Let's dig in. Now, one question I am asked often is, can I drop the drive shaft with everything still in the car? And the answer is yes, you can, on passengers and pickups. But you got to know what you're about. Now, the passenger cars, of course, we have a 4-speed here, but their cross member is a little different, in a little different spot, but it's notched out so that you can pull back your torque ball flange here and everything and drop. There's a notch right in the cross member, the exact shape of your U-joint, and you can pull everything back as far as it'll go and it'll drop right on past through that notch. Pickups, this one's a little different. We've got a cross member that is bolted in, and so that'll have to come out before we can, if you were wanting to service, say, the front bushing, put an Oki bushing in here or whatever, then that cross member would have to come out on this one. Not going to be an issue. Everything's coming out, right? Somebody's most definitely been at work in here. Not only were we missing a lock washer on this bolt, but we're missing that bolt entirely on the bottom. Of course, that all could have rattled out of there. This collar with the quart gasket under it, that is jam tight to this piece. So it just turns. I cannot take the tension off that gasket in there. I am just going to have to force the tube back, or the ball back on the pipe when I get this loose. Really no fear of hurting the gasket or anything at this point. all of that took much, much longer than it ever should have. Getting this ball assembly to move backwards on the tube, I really had to clean and oil and move back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until, you know, that cork is just so, I'm sure, hardened and everything else. And then, of course, you have to bend your little lock tabs on your 4 bolts that hold the trunnions on there. And then we can move it. So let's see if we can get this enough clearance here. There we go. So that is free. Maybe I'll set up a time-lapse camera and I'll start, well, maybe I'll answer the phone. I'll start stripping off all the odds and ends off the engine, the parking brake, and just keep moving forward. Do you know what I think? I'll tell you what I think. I think it's time to lift this engine off of here. I was moving some engines around from here to home, and I may have allegedly left all of my good chains I had here over there. So once again, it's kind of a rigged up affair here. I don't know if you can even really see what's going on. Well, get with it, guy. There you go. Okay. I think we're loose. I don't know. I guess we just start going for it. Front end seems to be. Looks like the bell housing's lifting off the cross member there. My arm's getting tired. Yeah, I think we're doing pretty good. Yeah! What was that? What's going on? Breather, the road draft tube. Why do I have a brake line that is staying with us? There. Okay. Alright, I think we're going to turn this sideways. Fuel line. Where do I think I'm going with the fuel line, huh? I will get that disconnected and then we will proceed. Guess I better stop. this weekend is July 4th weekend, Friday. Saturday, we leave for Colorado. Unless you're from South Cali, it's Colorado, right? We don't go to no rodeos in Colorado. Anyway, what I want to accomplish this week is I want bare chassis. Okay, I gotta get this mess out of here. So I want to get that done. Hopefully by the end of the day, this is completely bare, and maybe I can get this video up before I leave for the weekend. The other thing I really want to get done this week is stripping all the wiring out of the 50 Jeepster. I've got, not that that pertains to anything we're doing here, but I've got wiring harness for that. I'm waiting on a couple things. Nylon wire loom and friction tape before I can go back in with it. Sorry, I think I was way off screen. I'm so good at this. So I am going to buckle down today and try to get everything off of here. I'm going to do my best. Let's get at it. I can get all these machine screws loose, but then when you get towards the end of the thread, they sure jam up again. So I just end up having to cut them either way. Looks like I need a punch for that one. I've been enjoying watching a YouTube channel. If you've ever heard of the Australian Armour and Artillery Museum, they do a lot of videos in the shop of those guys restoring those things, and you know, I thought I had to deal with some stubborn stuff, but you take those tanks, like right now I'm watching them. It's an older series, a couple of years old, them restoring an M3 Grant tank, which was I suppose a U.S. Lend-Lease tank to Australia, and then they were later decommissioned. You know, I'm sure the armament was removed and decommissioned, and then they were sold to landowners and so forth, and a lot of tanks in Australia were used apparently to clear land after the war, and so you can imagine the abuse and the mud and the dirt, and you know, they have to remove 1-inch bolts or bigger fine thread that have been in there 80 years and not only survived the war, but then were used in land clearing operations. And oh man, talk about a fight. But anyway, we each do our own thing, I suppose. So I'm going to keep going. So I wanted to go after my brake hoses so I can get all the lines out. Steel lines, brake lines, fuel lines, all of that. But in order to get these out, it would be incredibly beneficial to get shock absorbers out. To get shock absorbers out, it would be very beneficial to get shock absorber links out. So that's where I'm going to start to end up here. Oh, sorry. Was hotter than a $2 pistol. Why don't you? I need that bolt out. And there's a clip on the bottom of here you can hit with a hammer and a chisel or a pry bar. Okay, I'm going to strip off everything else on the axles that I want to retain, the springs and everything. Once I get it out of here, I can turn it upside down and do that much easier. So, and I need to bring some jack stands from home. I don't have any spares here. shackles weren't too bad. Took a big old pry bar on the right side here and some gentle persuasion. We may need to block this thing up even more, huh? Let's see what it does when well, there's no way I can get that out of there. Come on, guy. Am I gonna have to get the cherry picker in here? Good grief. It's like it's time to spend an hour cleaning up again. I don't know why you guys thought the jack would work. Pathetic. Well, turn it left. Okay, that does it for the rear half of the vehicle, of the chassis. More than that, actually, all the way up to the battery box here. Everything is stripped down as far as it can get. So I'm just going to keep moving forward. First, I'm going to sweep up this mess, and we'll keep moving forward in every sense of the phrase. There's one thing that I did not get on camera, and that was the removal of the shackle bolts going through the leaf spring. Of course, we have a solid mount bolt up front on the leafs. It's just the opposite on the front axle, but on the front you got your solid bolt going through. On the rear you got your shackle, and on the leaf spring eyelet you have a threaded bolt going through the bushing, and that's a little bit unusual in a lot of circumstances. So I'm going to show you that in just a second. We will take them out of the leaf springs over there, because I don't think, I could be wrong, maybe the front does use them. Yeah, it does. We'll just take a look at it at the front. Forget everything I said. I'm sweeping. I'm not talking, I'm not saying anything. think most likely I will end up retaining the battery box there. It shouldn't be in the way of the transmission. It might get a little tight. We'll just see. I would like to keep it there if possible. Just the engine compartment's going to be cramped enough as it is. It's possible it could be in the cab. I don't really want to do that either. We'll just see. What are you so upset about? Trying to remake threads there or something. Let's just try this one. It's gonna be that way. See, that's all you got. You see your friend here, he just cooperation. That's it. Those bolts on, I'm guessing all four corners are quite worn. This would be the only one that isn't if it isn't. Got a nice groove in it. Might as well help these things out a little bit more. I have taken the weight off the front end here. I've got cherry picker under the cross member. See if that helps our case here a little bit. Wow, that bolt is... that is bent. The old boy bottomed her out going through the creek or something. I don't know. Came out easy enough. Okay, where's my big bar? There she is. We're gonna back this up, smack it. Yeah. Oh, that one's stubborn. Let's just try this side for fun. Oh, yeah. one's free. Okay, that's not what I had in mind, but it's what we're wanting to do. Why can't I feel the fan? Yeah. Whoop. We lost the back end. Getting too rough with it back here. Up here. Yes. Oh, nice, nice. Okay, this shackle bolt should just turn out of here one way or to other. This one's actually got some slop in it. Yeah, there's some wear in the center of it there. Well, here we're getting towards the end. The last thing I'm going to do is remove our springs from the rear axle. Not sure if we will even be able to reuse them. At the very least, we'll have to replace the main springs because the wear from the front pins has gotten into the spring itself. Our shock mount plates are off. That one's broken off on the left hand side and it's completely missing. There's just a small piece of it on the shock absorber. You know, so there's issues. We may, like I say, we may use these, we may not. We'll just see what happens. But I'm going to get with you at the very end here in just a minute and go over where we are going from here. Let me get all of this up so I can get it out of here. think if I made a chariot, the team of sheep I have at home would pull it. That'd be awesome. $169 and let's call it 13/16. Why, you turkey? $169 and 3/4-ish. Now it says 169 and a half. We're pretty close. I think I'm gonna get a second set of hands, and that will ensure we're in the exact same spot. Okay, so this is accuracy at its finest. I was going to bring a couple levels from home, but of course I can't remember anything. So I had a couple fluorescent bulbs. Who's to say they're perfectly straight? I don't know. But anyway, I've got them both in the perfectly perpendicular to the frame. This one is resting on 2 rivets. The back one I've got by measurement up there on the hump over the rear axle. And I don't know if the camera is the greatest tool to be using here. By eye it looks really good, but I'll just kind of lift you up and down. I don't think we really have any twist in this thing, so we can certainly figure out a way to do this a little more accurate later. Well, there you have it, guys. I think we have gone as far as we are going to go on the frame. Everything that can be removed with hardware is removed. Everything else is riveted on. And as far as I'm concerned, and in conversations with the owner, that is pretty much as far as he is going to be interested in going. Any of the holes that we do not need in the frame can stay in conversations with him. This is kind of an odd mixture of he wants what he wants, and he's going to be spending a lot of money here, but he said as much as where we can save money, we need to do that too. So, you know, hence, now he wanted the solid front axle, the old school look there, but as far as steering components, the manual gearbox, those are probably going to stay. Now, of course, we need to go through that, and that'll be a subject of another video. That's really one of the next things I need to do, is start tearing that down, seeing what joint components we need to replace. Obviously, kingpins probably need to be done, so on and so forth. But having said that, as far as the drivetrain and other mechanical things on this vehicle, everything's gonna be different. Like it or love it or hate it or whatever, it really doesn't matter what my feelings are about that. It's not my money. I have been asked and agreed to do this project for a guy, so that's what we're got to do, right? Now, of course, everything, you know me, everything that I take off of here will be saved, whether he keeps it or whether I trade work for it or cash for it or whatever. Everything that is not used, that is still good on this pickup, will be saved for a future date. What we are looking at, he is dead set on a 350. So small block Chevy 350, probably 700 R4 coupled to that. Give him overdrive. Rear end, I could go either way. I'd like to save him the money. I could order like a Curie rear axle and set it up exactly what we need: the width, the gear ratio, posi, the number of wheel studs, so on and so forth. Disc brakes back there if required. Or I am also looking at first and second gen Camaro or Firebird rear axle should be dead on the right width. We're looking about exactly 60 inches wide from flange to flange, and that is exactly where those early Camaros are. So if I can source a good one of those, then I can reuse our leaf springs, retain our leaf springs. Obviously they need to be worked on, but we can go with that. That's what I'm looking there. Otherwise, what else? I am trying to find. I've left a message with a sandblaster. I would like to farm out the frame and then see for a future date the body stuff. The owner has found I believe a 40 cab up in Nebraska, and so it's possible that they are going to go after that. So hopefully I won't have to sacrifice my 39 cab. I really think that's about it. All the pertinent information. A small block should fit in there pretty nice. We have about 6 to 7 inches of wiggle room in front of the timing cover on a small block, between the back of the radiator and the front of the engine, about 6 to 7 inches to play with. So I always prefer a manual or an analog, is that the right term? Cooling fan. I just think they work better, and you don't have the motor noise. They're never an issue, right? But I don't know, can we get a short water pump and a fan in there and make that work? On all of these things, guys, if you have done this, if you know for sure what has worked for you on a very similar year Chevy pickup, get with me. Let me know. I would prefer you email me directly. I absolutely cannot keep up with comments and responding to everyone there and so on and so forth as much as I would like to. I appreciate them all. I love the fact that you guys do that. But the reality is I have got to be in the shop working, not sitting at a computer responding and reading every comment. And email, just sometimes I'm pretty slow at responding to emails too, but it's better guarantee that I will read it and get back to you. So I would really appreciate anyone that has particular experience, similar model, putting a small block in, the things you did, the things you found out don't work. Do I need to box in at least a section of this frame and stiffen it up a little bit? I don't know. I want to say 300, 350 horsepower ish. It's not gonna tweak things out of alignment, but what's your opinion on that as well? Let me know. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. As we move forward on this project, make sure you're subscribed so that you can keep up with me. I really appreciate you joining me. God bless you. See you on the next one.